Hey everybody, and welcome into another episode of the Level Playing Field podcast. Today we are in the middle of the best time in sports during the sports calendar through the year. We got the NCAA tournament, we got NCAA wrestling, we got the World Baseball Classic that just wrapped up, we got NCAA hockey, the Masters, college football starting spring practice in a couple days, the NFL draft's around the corner, the MLB is starting up soon. I mean, what could be better? What could be better? Dennis, what else? What did I miss?
Our God is an awesome God, man. You know, athletics are awesome, especially in the state of Pennsylvania. We got the greatest wrestlers. Mm-hmm. Our wrestlers are just so awesome, you know. And I would say this to you, you know, right now we have two Heisman Trophy, Hodge Trophy candidates wrestling. I'm so excited to see who's going to win it. You know, Penn State, two Hodge Trophy candidates professing Jesus. You got to see their interviews, man. If you haven't seen their interviews, hopefully Andrew can play a clip for you. But if he can't, man, just go and find those guys or watch them. Watch them. They're so awesome. And on top of that, we have the Heisman Trophy candidate, the winner, okay, professing Christ. And I will tell you, Tim Tebow, the greatest college quarterback in history, professed Christ. And of course, Dan Marino, my teammate, he's man, he loves the Lord. He's a practicing Catholic Christian. He loves the Lord, and he's the greatest quarterback to ever play, according to Joe Montana and John Elway. All the quarterbacks chose Dan Marino as the greatest quarterback ever. My brother called me when that happened, like 2 or 3 years ago. I guess they all got together and they unanimously decided that Dan was the greatest ever, right? And I would tell you, he's not just the greatest ever in the NFL, but also in college. Like Tim Tebow had a short-lived NFL career. You have the great quarterback from the New England Patriots, right? Brady. He had no career in college. He was like a late draft pick, barely started at Michigan. So if you look at the overall greatest quarterback ever in college and in the NFL, it's got to be Dan Marino. And I will tell you, he loves the Lord. He's got 8 children. God bless him. He's tied with me and my wife. But, you know, what is the problem, Andrew? I don't understand. And what is the problem with men, coaches, universities, athletes really committing and having and professing their faith? Look at little Lehigh. They were in the NCAAs for basketball, right? And they have 8 guys, 5 champions in the EIAA, and 8 guys wrestling for national championships right now in Cleveland. It's just awesome. And Pat Santoro, he himself leads the fellowship group. Every week they have a fellowship group and all the wrestlers get together and they pray and they profess Christ. Now, the basketball team, the same. Bunch of beautiful Christians, they profess Christ. What is the problem, Andrew? We have total failure. We have total failure at Penn State, Pitt, and Temple in Division I basketball, men's and women's. None of them even made the big dance. We have little Lehigh in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, letting their little light shine. As the scriptures tell us, there's a song, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, right? So here they are.
And you say, like, look at the schools. Like, we're talking, like, I mean, it is March Madness right now as we have this conversation. Look at the teams just out of PA that made the tournament. We got Lehigh as a play-in, obviously. They lost last night. The credit to that team that took them down, that one kid, Horn, he went off last night for 25. But we got Lehigh, Villanova, and Penn.
Another Christian school, Villanova.
They're small.
And Penn was a seminary, schools. For the record. Penn was a seminary when it originally opened up. But go ahead.
Yeah. So what is going on? Why are these 3 tiny schools making this push? And then, you know, historically, like St. Joe's, these tiny schools out of Philly or out of PA that make these runs into the NCAA tournament. Why? What is going on at Penn State? What is going on at Pitt, at Temple? The 3 major institutions throughout our state, they can't get it together. What's going on?
It's the athletic directors. It's got to be the athletic directors. You know, I question myself. It seems, look, man, I call this. You know, I'm gonna call it out. Ever since they instituted this DEI of sort, you know, Andrew, and they've made these universities and these athletic departments hire certain people, not necessarily based on their abilities, but based on their their whatever, whatever you want to call it. You understand?
And it's an interesting point. It's an interesting point because while politically that has we shifted a page from that, but the hires that have happened are still there in a lot of cases. They all these hires, they didn't just get washed away with that. Maybe the practices have been swept under the rug and downplayed, but the hires are still there. So I think you're making a great point because the talent is clearly there in state. The talent is clearly there if these schools are making it. So why are they not going to the big institutions? Why are they not doing that? And it goes down to the people running the show. I think that's clear as day.
And that's
Hey guys, I really hope you're enjoying the show. Do me a favor real quick. Look down. Are you guys subscribed? Because it really helps us out. We want to just keep bringing the best content we can to you guys every single week. All right, let's get back to the show.
That's why I say they should all get fired. I mean, the athletic director at Penn State stinks. The athletic director at Pitt stinks. The athletic director at Temple stinks. How look, and the proof's in the pudding. How does Penn State just dominate by what? Recruiting Pennsylvania kids. Storaci out of Erie Cathedral, 5-time national champion last year at State College, right? Out of Erie, Pennsylvania. And the kid was such an awesome athlete. Andrew, he wrestled on one leg. On one leg, he had a torn ACL, right? Mm-hmm. And he just qualified at the Big Tens and he forfeited. He rested with a torn ACL. He went and won a national championship and beat the defending national champ by doing it. It's not like he had some weak weight class. Pennsylvania guys, mm-hmm. Dan Marino, Pennsylvania guy, Pittsburgh Central Catholic, right? What on earth is going on with? Well, we know. Look, you're looking, and then look at little Lehigh. Those are all Pennsylvania kids wrestling and playing basketball there. Do you understand? And they're having tremendous success. Why? Because they're recruiting Pennsylvania kids, and they're professing Christ, and the head coaches are Christians. They don't hold it back. This whole DEI garbage of shutting down men and women from professing their faith, right? And then B, hiring coaches look, head coaches are their assistant coaches, right? So now if a head coach he's handcuffed and he's told he has to hire somebody or something, one of these regretfully confused human beings that think that they're not a man or not a woman, the Holy Scriptures make it real clear. There's men and women, and that's it, right? But they got to hire them. So it's like a freak show, Andrew, right? So you get a head coach, and then he can't even necessarily hire who he wants. He's got to follow this DEI. So I think the state of Pennsylvania is being affected by it. That's what my gut tells me, right? Because how does Penn State, with that super largest alumni in the world, right, who supports, greatest alumni. Those Penn State fans are the best. I'm going to say that, and the wrestling's the best. And you gotta love it. You gotta love a school, Andrew. Being a wrestling guy, you gotta love a school like Penn State. They have more people that come to a wrestling match than to a basketball game.
I'll tell you what. When I was at Penn State, this is like 2012, 14-ish, somewhere around there. I went to my first wrestling match, and they're in the middle of what we thought then was a dynasty. They were on national championship like 4 through 6, which then we thought was awesome. Looking back at it, that was just the beginning. But I'm sitting there, and I'd been to a Lehigh match, wrestling, like local stuff. I'd never been to a wrestling match up there. And I walk into Rec Hall, and it was an atmosphere. Like the air in there was palpable, what you could feel, and people watching the match so intently. Silence. Score a point, takedown, eruption, back down to silence. It was incredible. It was an incredible atmosphere. I never saw anything like it. Ever since then, I'm like, I'm hooked. I'm all in. This sport is out of control.
Listen, it's such a great sport, and the men and the women who compete in it are just such humble, God-fearing. I mean, you just see them professing Christ. And why? And then little Lehigh. Let's talk about Little Lehigh,
Yep.
and let's go back to talking about the three major Division I schools. Little Villanova, which they are, right, and Little Penn are playing for a national championship in basketball, right? And then we got Pitt, the wrestling at Pitt's doing well. The good Christian coaches. You got Lehigh and a bunch of other schools that are the 51 athletes from those schools. But Andrew, the point is Pitt tore down its football stadium, right? Pitt's in the top 10 for national championships ever. I think Pitt's like number 7 or 8 for national championships. So here's a stadium where they had, legendary athletes, football players, coaches playing it. And by the way, I think Pitt is number 1 Hall of Fame football players in the country, and one of the top draft schools over the years. It's and they tore down this football field, Andrew, against all the football players' wills. Every single football player said no, right? So some athletic director that's not even there anymore, and it's named after the guy, the Peterson Event Center. They tear down a football stadium to put up this basketball stadium. Oh, okay. Well, let's see what happens. Nothing. Zero.
No.
Goose egg. Nothing has happened. Not one national championship, not one Final Four appearance, not anything, right? So what do they accomplish? It gets back down to these athletic directors, Andrew. It really does. The athletic directors, and they might have their hands tied with this DEI. I'm not, we haven't researched it enough to throw anybody under the bus, but I sense that has something to do with it, because you got these little private universities that aren't playing into that DEI, that are putting out Little Lehigh, Little Villanova.
And whereas, for example, I just looked it up. So Lehigh undergraduate population, about 6,000 kids. Then we got Villanova, 7,000. Penn brings it to the max at 10,000. So we're looking at universities that are 10,000 under, and they're putting out this type of performance versus, Penn State has 40,000 kids just at main campus, let alone all the branch campuses.
Largest
and everything.
alumni. Largest alumni.
Yeah, and that's obviously alumni is insanely huge. But that is, that's it. It's like, it doesn't take the max amount of resources. What it does take is resources being pulled in the same direction. Because you can look at, like just what we were saying, Lehigh. They put how many kids into the wrestling finals now? Eight
kids.
Yeah. So there you go.
Championships.
There you go. So they're making a solid push for national championships. Basketball's pushing into the finals or into the tournament, and then they always have a solid lacrosse program.
Listen, you mentioned lacrosse. My nephew Mikey Sisselberger is a first-round draft pick for the Utah Archers. But the thing is, and their lacrosse team was in the top 10 in the country.
Yep, always.
Top 10
always.
In the country, in America, in lacrosse. So if these little universities are making great decisions in their hirings, and these little universities, Mikey Sisselberger, Pennsylvania kid, right? All of the studs, almost every single stud at Lehigh right now, Pennsylvania kids. Pitt in wrestling, top 20. So in the state of Pennsylvania, and Penn is a top 30 team. And Lock Haven and PSAC, they're all right. And Bucknell's coming up too. So here we are in the state with these little universities, right? In the oldest sport in the world, right? Jacob wrestled an angel. We if you guys hear our ads, that's what we're promoting right now. Jacob wrestled an angel, and Jesus wrestled Satan and was victorious. So it's biblically based. And here we are in the state of Pennsylvania with all these studs, and our universities are taking numbers, man. 51 kids are are national qualifiers, right? So why isn't it happening in basketball? We have all these studs in the inner cities of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia and all these other city areas that we have, and in the country. We have a great state for basketball. And how about some of these prep schools that we have here?
Yep. I want to shout out really quick. I want to shout out my buddy who we went to Penn State together. He was the coach down at Penn State York this year. They won a national title, D3 national title.
Well, maybe they need to hire him. Bring him up.
I'll tell you what, the talent's there. No matter how you do it, but it comes down to the leadership.
Listen, and the proof is in the pudding. You understand? We have little Lehigh just taking numbers, right? And even their football team was undefeated this year. The Lehigh football team and little Lafayette's football team. I should have called them little. I have a cousin who's an offensive guard for them who's done real well. So the point is something is broken, Andrew. And I think it's the athletic directors at every single one of those three big universities. They need to get canned. They need to get fired. And if they're playing that DEI garbage, they need to cancel it and get it away, because it's not fair to the athletes in the state of Pennsylvania, and it's not fair to the alumni, especially this great Andrew turned me on to this stuff. I didn't realize Penn State's got the biggest alumni in the world, the biggest organized alumni in the world. They're such great fans, but they're the ones that have to reach out. You guys got to tell these athletic directors, like, what are you doing? We don't know. We want to win. It's not okay to not make the NCAAs in men's basketball, in women's basketball. It's not okay to be 6-6 and playing some toilet bowl in Yankee Stadium. You understand? You're Penn State University, same as the University of Pittsburgh, and even Temple for that matter, right? The University of Pittsburgh has such a great tradition in athletics, in football, and in basketball, and in wrestling, and in track and field, and all their sports. And they stink. And it's something's got to get done. What's the problem? Just look next door at Ohio State. Every single sport that they compete in, they're always over 500, and they're always ranked in the top 10. You name the sport from A to Z. A friend of mine's daughter played field hockey for him, top 10 in field hockey. You know what I'm saying to you? Why isn't Penn State and Pitt and even Temple, why aren't they in the top 20 at least, right? So but Pitt is, Lehigh is, and Penn State is in wrestling. Okay. Well, why? Because they're recruiting Pennsylvania athletes, Andrew, and they're professing Christ. So getting back to this dilemma, and it leads in, listen, it leads into what's going on right now with the March Madness, Andrew, right? So we've done a program on this whole sports gambling thing, right? And regretfully, right now, today, as we speak, it's an absurd time. They call it bracket illness. Like everyone's supposed to be like a drug addict over the brackets, Andrew. And it's so sad. And you have all these advertisements beaming out and splashing all of our children and our senior citizens with these crazy giveaways. Bet $5, get $150 for free. Tell them about those scams, Andrew. Tell them what they're trying to do.
All right, guys, let's take a second to talk about our friends over at Summit Web Search. The internet is a big place, and if you're running a business, just being online anymore isn't enough. You have to stand out from your competition. That's where the team at Summit Web Search comes in. They help businesses with digital marketing, web design, graphic design, but what really separates them is how they prepare companies for where things are going. With AI coming in and changing the way people search for information online, you have to stay ahead of the curve. Instead of guessing and chasing trends, Summit Web Search focuses on what makes your business show up where it actually matters, in front of the people that are going to spend money with you. You need to chase those people down who are already online looking for your product. Because in a world where visibility is everything, that's what being online is all about. It's being positioned to win day in and day out and get your clients the products that they want. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start getting found, check out Summit Web Search and let them help you level the playing field. All right, let's get back to the show. Oh yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts and everything, and that's what their DraftKings and BetMGM and FanDuel, that's what they're giving away is, make a $5, $10 bet, and you can get up to $1,500 in free bets. They just want you in the system. The house always wins. You know that you're not getting $1,500. You're getting the opportunity to lose $1,500 more dollars. And then they want to just make that a habit and keep it going. And and you've gotta you got to play to win, and you guys got to keep going. That's it. That's their whole strategy, and unfortunately, it's working.
Well, here's the thing, Andrew. They're addicting our children. Our children have enough problems. The youth have enough problems, and even the adults have enough problems, right? We have this drug crisis with fentanyl. Okay, we have this alcohol. Always have had this alcohol issue with the over drinking and these state stores and people selling alcohol even on Sundays. They even on the Lord's Day they're selling alcohol. And if you just get into it, we have this absurd pornography issues that people are getting addicted to. The kids are getting addicted to social media. I hear about this where the kids are like, having actual withdrawals and problems. And then you have these, they're selling these cigarettes that they're getting the kids addicted on. Now we have gambling. So we have sports gambling. Let me tell you all, it's a con. Don't do it. Okay. Turn your TV off. Watch out for your children. Watch out for your sons, your daughters. Watch out for your husbands, your wives, right? Watch out for your parents. Look out for them because it's very, very addicting right now. And it needs to stop. The advertising, the governors of every single state in America need to stop the advertising. That's first and foremost, right? And then Andrew and I, we talked about this. They got to make people go in person. My dad was a horse racing fanatic. He would go and drive to the OTB or drive to the racetrack, give them $50 or $100, and then he would watch the races on TV and call them in, right, Andrew? My dad would call them in, and I used to get agitated about it. I used to tell my dad, like, what are you doing, Dad? It's pathetic. Oh, no, don't bother me. But still, my dad could only lose $50 or $100. Now you can bet on your stupid computer. You can use all these other different money forms. You can use your credit cards. That's got to stop. Any gambling that occurs, you got to post the money in cash up front, okay? And then you got to call it in, not touch a computer or touch
it's effortless.
phone. Do you understand?
It's effortless. We touched on this in another episode where, it seems so well and good. And, there's nothing wrong with, right, having some fun, doing it here and there, whatever. But like the point of the matter is what we're talking about is that it can be so addicting and so quickly slide downhill and have such a slippery slope that, when it's 3:00 in the morning and you're betting on a Ukrainian soccer league that you know nothing about, but like, you're just like, I just got to get a fix. That's when it turns into, oh man, I'm not at a casino. I'm on my couch. I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper at 3:00 in the morning just to get a thrill, probably not Dr. Pepper, probably alcohol at that point, but like it's such a slippery slope. And with the phones, and it's so easy, and the user interface is so easy, and the layout is so user friendly that you just sit there and you're like, well, I got to do it. I got to do it. There's no way that someone who's locked in and actually has a gambling addiction, can pull themselves out of that. And it's just making it harder and harder and harder. And they're preying on these people. It's very sad.
It's the dopamine. It's the dopamine in your brain, right? A lot of you folks are athletes. Man, go work out. Go work out.
Yep.
Go whatever sport you did. I don't care from archery to women's volleyball. Okay, Go out and work out, man. Go stretch. Go for a walk. You understand? Go do some gardening. Go fishing, man. Do things that are going to fill your time and fill your mind, right? More importantly, pray, man. Pray the Lord's Prayer. Personalize it, right? I personalize it. Jesus says, "This is the prayer that my Father taught me." Okay, and I would tell you, you can't be losing. Save your money. All those devils that are out there, man, you just got to avoid them, especially right now. We've done this during the football season. Around the Super Bowl, we had a conversation about this, but you got to have it every day. And you got to have that conversation with your children, and you got to have the conversations with your senior citizens, because they're coming into your homes now, and they're taking it over, and you just don't necessarily know what's coming at you. And it's very important that you get over it, man. Get over it. Save your money. Pray through it. Do things to keep you occupied, but most importantly, pray. And I will tell you, we have a great website at DennisAtia.com. It's Armies for Jesus, right? And Answers by Jesus. If you come to my website, DennisAtia.com, that's Dennis, ATIYEH, We have a boatload of information there. And also, if you want to write us, okay, you can write us to the Level Playing Field at P.O. Box 16, Emmaus, Pennsylvania, 18049. Andrew.
Yeah. So, no, I think it's a great point. And the fact of the matter is that, we are in this amazing time with all these sports and all the playoffs and everything's coming to a head, and enjoy them for what they are. Enjoy them for the competitive nature, the sportsmanship that is supposed to be brought out when like collegiate sports and even professional sports like come to a head. And it's about celebrating the accomplishments of these human beings and pushing themselves and pushing like the human body to its limits and competing at the highest level. I love watching people compete at the highest level at anything they do. I find it fascinating and I love it. It doesn't have to be sullied with all the gambling and the money and all of that.
That's such a great point. Get you young athletes, you young basketball players, watch the guys. They're stars. Yep. The wrestlers, man, you young guys, watch them wrestle, watch their moves, the football, the baseball, the soccer, the volleyball. Just watch these athletes and learn from them. That's what you get out of watching them. And then more importantly, be loyal to your favorite university if you're an alumni, right? But the other thing is, too, they're trying to pass this act called the Points Act, in which Congress, listen to these idiots, in which Congress and Senate and the President of the United States wants to put $100 million of our taxpayer dollars, right, aside to pay for rehabilitation of this disastrous gambling addiction that they have single-handedly. ESPN, right, Fox, CBS, right, NBC, they're all promoting this garbage. The Big Ten Network doesn't. They don't let it on. But they're all promoting this garbage, Andrew. That's who should be paying the $100 million to help rehab these young men and women and older men and women who are getting addicted to this garbage because they're throwing it in their faces. Just like we talked about. It's like when they gave the military men cigarettes when they went to war. They came back, they were all addicted to cigarettes. They're doing the same exact thing. And listen, resist it. Pray, the Lord's Prayer, and ask God for direction. And again, go to Dennis, ATIYEH, DennisAtia.com, or and you're going to get this awesome websites called Armies for Jesus and Answers by Jesus, all scripturally based, and it'll get you out of your funk. And I don't care what your funk is. And last week I mentioned, I don't care if you're addicted to alcohol, right? Or you're into witchcraft, man, come to this website and you'll be free. You'll be liberated, man. And it's an awesome, awesome thing to do, man. Be liberated, be yourself, and make sure you get out in the garden. Remember this, right? The greatest decision ever made in the history of the world was made in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? In the Garden of Gethsemane. So get out and garden, right?
Yeah. No, that's a beautiful touch. So thank you, everybody, for listening. This is a great episode, a great conversation. Go out, enjoy all the sports this weekend. Check out the wrestling and the basketball. And remember, hey, if you're listening to us on the radio, thank you so much. If not, you can also find us on YouTube and Spotify and our podcast. And remember to like and subscribe. And until next time, have a great day.